to this week's Movie Math, giving you an in-depth analysis of the box office for the weekend of November 11th, which could be a game-changer for Relativity Media. Since the company was founded by Ryan Kavanaugh back in 2004, the distributor/entertainment finance company has been the focus of much Hollywood gossip and jealousy. Why? Because Relativity has ridiculously deep pockets and seemingly no demands for results from its investors. But earlier this year, that seemed to change as Relativity's biggest investor, Elliott Associates, first demanded key personnel changes and then insisted on separating Relativity's distribution arm from its financing operations, which are now called Beverly 2. And it wasn't just Elliott Associates that was upset. Universal, which has been receiving financing from Relativity, which was in actuality Elliott Associates' money, got majorly peeved when Relativity set up a competing Snow White project. All this backroom backstabbing cast a major pall over Relativity's first big trip to the Oscars for The Fighter and has made Kavanaugh persona non grata in much of Tinseltown. So he's got to be loving his cold dish of revenge now that Immortals not only took the #1 spot this weekend with $32 million, but pulled in another $36 million overseas. That's Relativity's biggest open ever, and Kavanaugh can also boast that he's the one to finally get young males back into theaters. They've been missing since late August. And speaking of those competing Snow White projects, this is also good news for Relativity's Mirror Mirror, as Immortals director Tarsem Singh is helming that project as well. And it will need such buzz as Universal lit up the internet the same weekend with the debut of their trailer for their Snow White project. Coincidence? I think not. Now, to be fair, Kavanaugh's detractors are pointing out that Immortals did nowhere near the same opening weekend business as 300, which was in 2D. But then again, in the lukewarm 2011 movie season, a $30 million plus opening is considered big news. Just ask Adam Sandler. His Jack and Jill was unable to crack the 30 mark, opening at number 2 with just $26 million. Sandler's movies typically open over 30, indicating that this will be one of his lesser picks. And by lesser, I mean just barely topping $100 million before going on to do boffo biz in rentals and DVDs. Yes, the Sony-Sandler relationship continues to be a lucrative one. Hey, he tried to take the high road, but nobody showed up. Kudos to Sandler for realizing and accepting that his path to success is paved with farts. The other wide release of the weekend was Oscar bait pick J. Edgar, which seems to be working. The biopic enjoyed a healthy per-screen average and is Clint Eastwood's biggest opening since he went all artsy. As for Leonardo DiCaprio, obviously his picks usually open much bigger, but like Brad Pitt, he's taking one for the potential gold. After all, the Academy doesn't like to reward blockbusters, and good news, this opened even lower than Moneyball. Oscar season is like Bizarro World, a whole different set of rules. The only obstacle for J. Edgar, though, is its abysmal reviews, as the Academy tends to follow critics like lemmings, sometimes into the sea. As for the rest of the box office, Puss in Boots continued to hold strong with just a 22% drop in its third weekend, while Tower Heist continues to embarrass itself, this time dropping 45% in just its second weekend. For Harold and Kumar 3, their high didn't last long, if at all, with the pick falling 55% in its second weekend. Now, if you want some real box office news, get ready for this coming weekend when Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1 hits theaters. Showtimes are already selling out, and the industry is predicting an opening of $155 million. Hey, any port in a storm, right, Hollywood? And the good news should continue with Happy Feet 2 also hitting theaters and expected to pull in a healthy $41 million. Finally, The Descendants also opens in a very limited release. And that's the weekend box office roundup. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.